Good evening, folks. We're back again. I am going to be playing a little bit of Pax Dei tonight. Um, Sorry for the fact that I haven't been on. I've been preoccupied with other things. Good news is, um, given all of the um, too hard. That's what she said. Um, good thing is, these past few weeks being an emotional roller coaster. That means this year's either going to be really good or it's gonna be really bad. We'll see how it goes, and I'm gonna be honest. Either way, it's gonna be freaking interesting, y'all. I can't wait to see how it turns out. I I hope it turns out good, but if it turns out bad, as long as it's interesting and I have some stories that I can tell, we're gonna be good. Speaking of which, I hope y'all enjoyed that story Christmas Eve. That was just something spur of the moment I uploaded. If y'all want more storytelling, please let me know. I really want to make y'all happy and upload content that you enjoy. And I've got plenty of books. I can definitely read some stories for you guys. You just let me know, give me a request as to what you want. I'm here chopping some wood, making some charcoal. That's pretty much all we're going to be doing tonight, boys and girls. Um, my go. Talk about lazy. Hmm. Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, I was going to say my goals for 2025 are finish up some personal stuff that I won't go into. Find hopefully find some love, man. Y'all don't understand. I've been put in the friend zone quite a lot in my time. That would be awesome to be able to. I don't want to say find the perfect match, but hey, if that happened, that'd be great. But even to find somebody to maybe date, hang around with, even just casually, and not really do anything serious with, that would be kind of nice. Be able to be out, or even just have some friends that I hang out with on a regular basis. That would be kind of good. Don't get me wrong, I have friends that I hang out with on a regular basis. That we have on the channel here quite infrequently, but also frequently enough. Um, Hangs out with me quite a bit, and don't get me wrong, we're good buddies and all that, but I'd kind of like some people my own age to hang around, not or even a little bit younger. Like I'm 32, I'm open to hanging with people in in their 20s, things like that. Just somebody to do stuff with. It's not, it's because y'all, it's kind of hard to socialize nowadays. Everybody wants to do so from the bedroom on the computer. I got people on the line on Discord right now. The only reason they're not online right now talking with us is actually because there's a few that do not like being broadcasted over the internet. And I really didn't know this until I was I'd done it a few times, and one of them says, "I really don't like being on the internet like that, and I don't like And I said, "Okay, can I ask why?" And he says, "Well, it's my voice. I have problems with my voice, and I'm just not comfortable with being out there." And I'm like, "Oh, well, crap! I should have realized. I see." And so that's part of the reason I don't really. Hang on, let me just resize. And I said, I should have realized. I didn't. And he's like, "It's okay, you didn't know." And I just kind of, that'll have to do. Um, and don't get me wrong, there were some times this year that I thought, when it came to the love thing, I was a little bit close. And the problem was, this person, and I'm not gonna name names, wasn't available. Um, not fully anyway. Th and it just never worked out that way. And then I found out other things that said you made me think, maybe, maybe we're not good as anything other than friends. But at least I found that out before things got super serious. Don't get me wrong, it hurt. But at least I will tell you this. This is the other thing that I've experienced. Most of the people, when they try to be friends, after they say we're better as friends, they don't really try to be friends. They drift off and they never really speak to one another. This person's not doing that. So I'm actually very happy with the way it turned out. I mean, would I prefer things work out a little more perfectly? Absolutely. But I would rather be friends with someone if I know for a fact it ain't gonna work out than just drift apart and never see one another again. That, to me, that's the worst thing you can do, is just cut people off. And because I'll tell you the truth, friendship is just as important as any relationship that you will ever have. That's the absolute truth. If you can't have friendship with somebody, then anything else is just, don't get me wrong, it's a benefit, but like, say you get into a relationship and that person passes away. You don't want to be alone. You don't want that one person to be all you have. No, you want friends around you. You want friends that know you, that can comfort you when you're broken, and when you call them in the middle of the night, they don't mind. So I think that's important to have those friends. Now, part of the reason, and I've learned this as I went older, because I've told folks um, that I've always been put in the friend zone. And okay, yeah, the friend zone exists. Okay, it does exist. But half the reason that it exists is because it's in your mind. Now, let me explain. There are people, yes, that will put you in the friend zone and just abandon you and say, oh, we're good friends, and never be anything like a friend to you. They'll see you passively and it'll be uncomfortable and weird because well, because they don't want to deal with some of the things that you think and feel. Well, the issue with that is you do have to feel those feelings and you do have to get over those feelings. But you know what? Many times, and I'm guilty of this myself. I'm guilty of it. With the friend zone, what will happen is one person will be more hurt than the other. And they'll drift apart. And not have any kind of closure, really. And no effort to actually be the friends that you say you're gonna be. Because, oh, I wanted more. Well, it's okay to want more out of a relationship, but if that ain't gonna happen, you're not gonna be able to. How do I put it? You can't make. What's that? What's that? Old Southern saying? You can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. You know. Um, and some people. Will say, oh, but that's different. No, the whole point beyond that saying is you can't make something that you want out of materials that don't exist. Um, like, okay, I've got leather here, and I can make large, rough animal hides. Okay, I can't take that leather and make a diamond necklace out of it. You can't make diamond necklaces out of a leather hide. You just can't. Now, you can make a nice leather journal if you know what you're doing. Um, but you know, and part of the reason it stings at the moment, I'm gonna be honest, and has seen throughout my life is I'm the guy that I have romantic dates planned in a journal. It's in my daily journal right now. But right now I have it in that journal and I'm going to transfer it into a journal all their own. So I have a menu of stuff that I can do. And I will be even more honest and say that I've had, when I meet my wife, whoever she turns out to be, I've had the proposal planned for a very long time. I would say like 16 to 20ish, and I'm 32. I've had that plan for a long time now. So yeah, I am that guy. I'm that romantic dude, and I'm the guy that I suck at being single. I do. I I I would love to tell you that I'm the best at being single there ever was. It is horrible. Like, I don't like the dating scene as it stands now. I don't like the fact that we meet up and we are lying to ourselves and to each other about what we want out of the relationship, or we try to paint ourselves as the perfect people. Nobody's a perfect person. There ain't but one perfect person that ever existed. His name was Jesus, you know. Yeah, you can follow him if you like. I highly recommend it. It's awesome. It's a great adventure. Um, but I also dislike that. Okay, I'm gonna get personal here. I dislike the idea of, how do I put it? How do I put it? The no pants dance. The horizontal tango, if you will. I don't like that we do that outside of marriage now. And I know we've done it outside of marriage for, as a society, for what could be like 20 to 30 years. And no shame. But I really think that is a deeply personal thing and it's a bonding thing. There's like all kinds of pheromones and hormones that are replaced or released during that, especially on the women's side of things. Um, and there are like soul ties that are released. Some people don't believe in soul ties. I do. Um, and it's actually proven that everybody you've ever slept with, everybody you've ever done that with, has is a part of your DNA, and it doesn't go away. Um, it does not go away. That remains a part of your DNA forever. So yeah, think about that tonight, you guys, while you're That's actually been proven by science. Um, by the way, it's also the same with whoever you've kissed. Um, that never goes away. I learned that in 10th grade science class. Yeah, that's I know that's messed up, but it's true. I know what people are going to ask. Bryce, have you ever had any experience in romance? I'm going to be honest with you. I've had one date my entire life, and it did not go well. You want to hear about it? Okay, I'll tell you about it. Sit down right here now. It was senior year, and there was a young lady that wanted to go with me, not as a serious date. She actually had a boyfriend, and she just wanted to go to prom. And she was a slightly underclassman, so she couldn't go unless somebody took her with them. And she was a good friend of mine, so I said, okay, we'll go. And we had a nice dinner, and I said, okay, this is kind of nice. And she kept going away to adjust her outfit. I believe she was about to have a kid at the time, or was in the early stages of pregnancy, or something like that. And don't get me wrong, she was a wonderful person, still is. I talk to her on occasion. We meet every once in a while. Hey, how you doing? That kind of thing. And she's very nice. But it was a case of, it's very clear this is not going anywhere. But we had fun, and really, that's what dating should be about. It should be about getting to know the person, having fun, talking, dancing, having a good time. But I think we get too serious in relationships way too quickly. We don't take time to get to know the person, and we rush into things, and as a result, um, marriages don't last as much as they used to. And really, part of the reason, most of the reason marriages don't last as long as they used to, is marriage actually used to mean something. It wasn't just a handshake, and if you want to, we can cut it off and we can leave. Now, don't get me wrong, there have been times, and I've had family that stayed in marriages when they shouldn't have, and there was stuff going on that shouldn't have. Some of it I didn't even know until after the marriage was over. I'm like, why did you stay? And she's like, because it was taught that you stayed regardless, and I stayed for the kids. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry. And she's like, okay, it's okay, we're good. And so that's where I stand on relationships at the moment. No, I don't have one. Would I like one? Absolutely, I would. But I want one with the right person. I don't want to just get into one and and start dating and make mistakes and that kind of thing. I don't, you know, I don't think that relationships and marriage are something you just rush into. Now, am I saying that there's not a time to take risk? Absolutely, there's time to take risks. Sometimes you gotta take a risk, and I really do believe that there will be a time to take risks in my life, and sometimes you may think you're ready to take a risk, but you haven't planned it out as much. And yes, there is a balance. I My biggest problem is I plan and I plan and I plan when it comes to relationships. I'm the guy that, like I said, I told you, I have a journal that has date ideas in it because they pop into my head. I don't want to forget them, and so I write them down. You say, when are you going to use them? Well, when the opportunity presents itself. But, like, I don't necessarily want to waste those ideas. Okay, for example, okay, I told you I had the proposal idea plan. Okay, great. So, are you going to use it with just any girl? No, I'm not. Because it's a one and done kind of deal. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would love to know who I'm going to be using it on. But it is so intricate and so well thought out. Like, it is one of those things that is so simple yet intricate. And it involves the state that I'm from. There's one thing that is only, like, we only have one of these in the entire US, and it just so happens to be in my state. So, my thoughts are, when I get ready to propose, I will go to this area and dig up the thing myself. And I will, with every spare item that I find while I'm at it, I will create a design, a piece of artwork that can be hung anywhere in the house, wherever she wants to hang it, and I will present that to her first, wherever, whoever she is, and watch her react to that specific thing, and I'll say, I've got one more gift. Because I am a gift giver. I do love to give gifts, and I will get down on one knee and propose that way. So that's the proposal plan. If somebody happens to be watching, that's that, and they happen to figure this out and find this video. Hopefully, I'll have many more videos up that'll get views before this one will. But yeah, that's my idea for proposing, and that's just an example. But you can see how I'm not actually going to use that on just any old person. I have to, I'm one of those people, I will have to know who that person is. And I do that by listening to the man upstairs, because I'm going to be honest, I don't make decisions without consulting the man upstairs. He's the one I talk to first. Anyway, so I'm going to continue chopping wood and making resources and stuff like that. And I'm basically just kind of going to talk. So yeah, hopefully this year, given the fact that it's an emotional roller coaster, comes out really well. Uh, because the past 3 weeks have been kind of an emotional roller coaster, and I don't know if it's going to be good, bad, or ugly. But it's going to be interesting. I really do believe it's going to be interesting, and there's going to be things happen that I'm not going to expect. Um, and it's made me a better writer as a result, because I'm able, because of my experiences that I've had that have been a emotional roller coaster, have been able to write things that I hadn't been able to write before, and so it's kind of bittersweet. I've got new friends and new experiences and new abilities, and well, not new abilities, but a level up, if you will. And so hopefully things just get better and better and better. But I want comments. I want comments down below. What are your New Year's plans today? Or this year? What specifically are you planning on doing this new year? What are your goals? Um like I said, my goals are hopefully find some love, finish up some personal stuff that um I've told you that I've experienced healing on this channel. Like a physical miraculous healing and stuff. I didn't go into detail because I'm not gonna go into detail. Y'all don't need to know. Not until everything is kind of proven and out in the open. Um, but oh great. No corpse in range. So we gonna find out where this corpse is. Okay, good. It's not too far in range, I don't think. Out of range, I don't think. Oh, it's further in range than I thought. I've got to go. But you know what? I'm going to continue this with a story. Okay? And I told this to my good friend. A lot of my good friends. Today, I said, let me tell you a story. And they're like, what story? I like stories. Most people, they like stories, by the way. Just saying. Y'all, y'all want to make friends, try to make a difference, that kind of thing. Learn to tell a good story. It's what we do best as humans. We tell stories, and we tell really good stories, and we is that a tea moment? No. And take all. Yay! I'm dressed in my clothes. I'm not gonna. Anyway, here is the story of the Trivie Fountain when it was being built. Basically, the guy that built it, I'm not going to tell you his name because it's some funky Italian name that I don't know how to pronounce, and I'd rather not pronounce it. He had this feud with this barber. And this barber, now, don't get me wrong, it's not like cutting hair today, okay? Barbers back then, they had a lot more going on. There was bloodletting, there was. Did he? I'm gonna stand right here until I heal. Dag nabbit. Anyway, back to my story. Um, he had this feud with this barber, and don't get me wrong, barbers back then they were different than barbers today. They had bloodletting, they had leeches, they did all kinds of stuff that barbers today ain't gonna do. They were a combination of doctor, beautician, and like they did all kinds of crazy stuff. I think they put the hair in the poultice and things like that to cure all kinds of sicknesses. Am I gonna say it worked? No, I don't. I don't know. I mean, Granny from the Clampets, she put that guy's hair in the ground and gave him a poultice, and before you know it, he had more hair growing out of his scalp. Um, that's all. That's all it was. It was for growing the hair, so he didn't. So they did all kinds of stuff back then that they don't do today. Some of it worked, some of it didn't. Um, but he was distracted at his work because he'd hear the tick, tip, 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 tick, ting, 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 ting of the chisels as they were building this trivie fountain. And if you've looked at the trivie fountain, um, it is quite the sight, quite a beautiful place. In fact, I've been there myself. I went to Rome when I was in my 20s, and one of the things I'd like to do eventually is to take maybe my wife, maybe the rest of my family there so that they can see some of the stuff that I saw. It was absolutely gorgeous. Revenge, Mr. Boar. Revenge, come. Come meet your maker. Yes! 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 Die! Anyway, back to the story. Every day, the barber would complain about the noise, complain about the racket, complain about the mess, and every day, the person designing the fountain would listen, and he would say, "Okay, okay, okay," and finally he had enough. And so, right as he was about to be finished with the trivie fountain, he actually, and you can see this wall is still there to this day. There, on the side of the trivie fountain, there's a big, ugly wall right in the middle of a business, and it obscures the rest of the fountain. And as he was building this wall, the barber asked, "Hey, what are you doing?" And the sculptor said, "Well, you complain about my work day after day after day. So now, you're not going to get to see it. Ever." And that was more final back then, because in that day, their house was on the lower part of their no, the house was on the upper part of their business. They had their business at the bottom of the building, and the top of their building was where their living quarters was. So he lived, ate, and did business in the same building. The only time he was able to see the trivie fountain was when he purposefully walked outside to look at the trivie fountain. Or when he was running an errand for his house. He never got to see it for good long glimpses like he would have if he stayed quiet and quit complaining about a minor inconvenience. And that's what it turned out to be, was a minor inconvenience. Um, and that is a lesson to all of us. Um, to learn to wait and learn to not complain about something that might inconvenience us in the moment. Because if we complain about something that might inconvenience us in the moment, we can miss for ourselves a great and powerful blessing in the long term. And I've seen many, many people make this same mistake. They complain about one thing or another, what either what they don't have, what, like, gonna bring it back full circle here, a relationship or a house or a good job, and meanwhile they might have something absolutely amazing that they're not factoring in, that they're not considering. For example, okay, I I'm gonna be honest. I don't have a relationship right now. I'd really like one eventually. Um, but you know what? That's less time I have to spend making videos for you guys, and I already am busy enough with my job and all the other errands I have to run and all the extra stuff I have to accomplish outside of work and outside of other things, that I can't make as many videos as I would like, because I'm gonna be honest, some people in my life, they don't really respect the idea that I do this kind of recording shtick. Um, I I guess they never will, really, until I start doing it full time and really making some cash at it, you know. And for those just tuning in, this is not something that I planned. Um, I got a computer just to kind of have fun in my spare time, and kind of chill a little bit, so that I wasn't just doing nothing with my nights. And somebody said that I would make a pretty good streamer, make a pretty good um, YouTuber, make a pretty good whatever, that I had the voice for it or had the personality for it. And I said, okay, I would like to believe that is true. Let's see, 8 times 16, what is that? Um, I would like to believe that that is true. Um, but I don't know that. All I do know is that um, I like doing what I'm doing, and I like that at least 16 of y'all like what I'm doing. Um, and thank y'all for the views, and thank y'all for tuning in. Okay, how do I earn this monies? Oh well, I'll have to try this another time. Um, but I like doing what I'm doing, and I like that. Let's actually double check and see. Check the 36 of you seem to like what I'm doing. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate y'all for kind of watching and enjoying what I do. I'm sorry that things are kind of lackluster at the moment on the channel. I had one viewer at 1 o'clock this morning, or 1 o'clock this afternoon. I don't know exactly what they watched. I think they watched the Hogwarts Legacy video. Y'all seem to really be liking that. I appreciate it. Um, but really, the reason that I'm doing it is somebody said I might be good, and it kind of took off more than I thought it would. And I apologize that I haven't been live streaming more because, like I said in the last video, if y'all were paying attention, I've had some crappy internet. And it's not anybody's fault other than the fact that that's the way things are around here. Um, so and I might do some more recording and uploading here in the next day or two. It's partially going to depend on what all I have to do. Tomorrow I'm going out to lunch with some family, and we're going to eat. We're going to have some fun in the new year, and I'm going to go to the bank to kind of move some stuff around and that kind of thing. So other than that, my plans are study and um, read and do journaling and maybe do a little bit of study and read and maybe do a little bit of journaling. And I'm trying to learn to play guitar. If y'all want to hear that when I get a little bit better, let me know and I'll but I'm actually reading a book of theory on that and just kind of going through, because if I don't understand theory, I'm one of those people, I won't be able to really understand the practical, especially when it comes to a musical instrument. I can play chords a lot better than I used to, since all this healing stuff took place, and I don't want to again go into it, but I used to not even be able to hold a guitar properly. Now I can not only hold it, but I can make chords with my hand, and I can play them, and I can make sure that they are played relatively well, and I'm thankful for that. And we're doing things a lot better than we used to. And that's one thing that I'm looking forward to being able to do without struggle. And I think it'll be a lot quicker than I think if I can just get, how do I put it? Get focused on it. I'm just taking a look at some stuff. Y'all, I apologize. Ay, 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 ay. Lost my train of thought there for a moment. I was basically saying that I was going to be out with family and studying and whatnot, and updating you on my progress. Um, so yeah, let me know if you want to see that or hear that guitar playing. I don't know that I'll be able to do much of anything once I get until I get really good at this sort of stuff. But I reckon if I could, I've got a digital audio player and I can upload the footage that way. And I would definitely be willing to do that if that's something y'all wanted to see. Um, I could upload some original stuff, although I don't really know how much original stuff I could upload because, like, it's like the stories that I write. I would be willing to upload them to YouTube if they weren't part of the big project, but there are some that I don't know if they're going to be part of the big project or not. You might ask, what is the big project? Well, the big project is actually a project that I have been working on since I was. When did I start working on it? Good night. Did I start working on that in high school? I think I did. I think the earliest version was in high school. Um, the earliest version didn't really pan out though. Um, well, it might pan out. It's the origin story of everything that started the whole stuff. Well, maybe not the whole origin story, just kind of the earliest origin story I have of one of my characters. Anyway, um, there are a bunch of stories that kind of intersect, and I don't know when it's going to be a part of the bigger project or if it's going to be something that is all its own. Like I have one that I wrote that was supposed to be its own um like a dark children's book uh about this guy who couldn't have a kid or didn't have a wife and finally found one and had a kid and wouldn't you know it, there one Christmas when the blood red moon's high in the sky, he um his family gets um let's say dispatched because I don't know how YouTube is going to take references of certain things going on. Um, but let's say dispatched. Um, they got dispatched by a certain individual dressed as Santa Claus, and it turned out to be Cain, the first dispatcher mentioned in the Bible. Um, uh, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can. It's in the book of Genesis, chapter. I'm just looking it up, guys. Um, Genesis chapter 4 is the story of Cain and Abel. Um, you can look that up. It's a good story. Um, basically, it's the story of the first dispatch. Let's put it that way. And I highly recommend you go read it. If you wanna, maybe one day we can do a little bit of Bible reading. I don't know. Uh, let me know if that'd be something you'd be interested in. You want some Bible commentary and some Bible reading? I'll be willing to provide that. Um, I would like to. Um, but if that's not what y'all are interested in, that's not what we'll do. Um, but basically, they follow this like there's this white witch and all this extra stuff, and how turns out the white witch is actually his adopted mother or actual mother. I can't remember which one. And they basically team up to kill the demon Cain, is what it amounts to. And they use a magic set of bagpipes to do it. Yeah, yeah, that's how crazy it gets. Basically, there's this like whole bit of voodoo hoodoo kind of thing with a gem from the Vault of Souls and a set of bagpipes that basically resurrects everybody that Cain ever dispatched, and they use those people to dispatch him. And it's because without his victims, he has no power. Um, basically, the lesson is don't be a victim of circumstance. I always like to include a little lesson with every story that I write because I think there's lessons that we are not taught anymore. And these lessons are simply put, they are important. They are important and they have purpose and meaning. And we've got too many people that they like to play the victim. They do. They like to play the victim and they like to say, "Oh, I'm such a victim." Da 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 da. One of the things that I hear, and to be fair, part of this is the fashion industry. Part of it is the fashion industry. Part of it is women choosing these clothes. Okay. One of the big things is, "Oh, I'm such a victim." Da 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 da. Somebody's giving me unwanted attention, and I'm dressing like a lady of the night. Okay. You dressing like a lady of the night. You want the attention, or if you don't want the attention, you need to change the way you're dressing. Now, here's the caveat to that. I am aware. I am aware there are some creepazoids out there that do some awful, awful, terrible, bad things. Okay, we'll agree that there's some people that do some awful, terrible, bad things. I know some people that the only people in their life were doing nothing but bad things to them. And do I think that that is right? Absolutely not. No, no, no. I think if somebody hurts anybody and acts like a creepazoid, put them under the jail. Forget about putting them in jail, put them under the jail. But here's the big issue. We do also have young ladies that are dressing like, okay, I have a good friend at work. She dresses, when she dresses modestly, she's an attractive young lady. But it's a 50-50 shot whether the clothes are going to look like they're just painted on with a roller. And if they do look like they're just painted on with a roller, people tend to stop and stare. They do. And there was one time that this young lady was sent home because the way that she was dressed, her pants were so skin tight and they had holes in them, and they were kind of inappropriate for work. And the holes were uh, in such a place that she had leggings on underneath them, but they left very little to the imagination, if you know what I'm saying. Um, Now, this pair of pants, she threw them away. She's never dressed like that particularly again, but there are still times that I'm like, ooh, if my daughter was dressed in clothes that tight and I saw it, um, I would be going next door to get her some new clothes. And I would be um, fit to be tied if it was my daughter. And then there's also the tool nature of the guy that's like, okay, this is kind of attractive. But, and yes, I'm aware I'm being a hypocrite when I say this because there is, okay, as a Christian, a fleshly side of me that likes to see some of those things. Um, and this is something that most Christians will not admit. Um, Everybody wants to say that they are admit where they're good walking with God. You know what I mean? And they want to talk about what God has delivered them from, but nobody wants to admit to this is where I struggle. You know, you won't. And I would like it if Christians did that more. I would like it if you could actually say in church or in meetings and stuff, hey, you know what? Sometimes when women dress in tight clothing in public, I look a little bit longer than I should. Um, I think that would be a better attraction to the church if we all met And we said, this is where I struggle. This is where God has delivered me. This is what I'm working on, and y'all pray for me as I go through this. And that's really where I don't want to say we have issues as a church, because the church is made up of people, but as a organizational body, we need to realize that we're all going to struggle with stuff. We do. We need to realize that we all struggle with things. And we're never going to be perfect. We never will be, because we never fully renew our minds until we get home to be with Jesus. And I'm sorry for talking so long about this subject. I know that y'all prefer me to stick to gameplay, but it's important that we are honest here on the channel. And truth be told, it's not easy. And I'll tell you, part of the reason men struggle with lust so much in different forms and different fashions is actually there's a lot of us that are alone. We want something deeper, and we want something better. And those of us that have God, yeah, it helps. A relationship with Jesus Christ, shocker, it helps when you have to deal with this sort of stuff. But it only goes, even then, I don't want to say it's not perfect, because if you are walking with Jesus really closely, it is easier than just it is easier than just going it alone. I can't tell you the amount of times I've slipped up on something, and I'll be crying, and I'll hear the man upstairs say, "It's okay. It's okay. You're gonna slip up. It's part of the walk, and you can do better next time." And there are times that I've actually, I don't want to say I've heard it, but I've felt them say, "You're doing better than you did. You're doing better than you were." Um, Sorry, kind of got wistful there. Um. Anyway, he will tell me that I'm doing much better than I was and that kind of thing. So that helps. That encourages me. And there are times that I feel like I can do pretty much anything he calls me to do. And trust me, he's given me some amazing ideas that I can't wait to put into action. But I'll wait as long as it takes. And I hope that it comes sooner rather than later. All of it. But I think this year is going to be a very good year. And I'm looking forward to sharing it with all of you as much as I can anyway. I can't guarantee you that I'm going to share every intimate detail of my life. Because there are times that I've tried to keep things hidden from you guys because I didn't necessarily know how it was going to pan out. And there were times that I didn't record because something was going on and I wasn't very happy about. And I wasn't very happy about the way it went down. Or I didn't know how it was going to go down. But I will tell you this, I try to, at every opportunity, tell you exactly how things turn out if I think it's important. And I really think um, that it is important to let you know certain things of my life, like when my family member passed away earlier this year. I told you guys after it happened because I know you guys are used to seeing me upload at least once a week, and I was trying to upload at least pretty regularly. And I think at that point I was trying to stream kind of regularly, but it didn't work this time around because, well, and you know, if something does happen and I end up going on vacation or going to an event somewhere or anything like that and you guys want to meet me or whatever, yeah, I'm going to tell you about it. If I gain a new family member in one way or another, I think, yeah, you're going to need to know about it. Because if I gain a new family member in one way or another, I'm going to be absolutely ecstatic and I'm going to spend all of my time with this new family member. You know, if, for example, I wake up tomorrow and Ryan decides, or no, not Ryan, um, let's say my cousin decides, oh, I'm going to get married tomorrow. And I say, okay. And they all of a sudden want me there. Absolutely, I'm going to be there if I can be, and I'm not going to be uploading that day. I may have something premiering for that day, because you know how I do. Um, and y'all may hear about it the next day or so. But I'm just, but I'm not one of these people to tell every intimate detail of my life as it's happening. Because you gotta deal with some things privately. You can acknowledge them after, but when you aren't, when you're going through it and you don't know how it's gonna turn out, it doesn't really do any good to
They got, I'm interested in such and such job, and I was just making sure you got my application type thing.
Okay. Um. Anyway, I will tell you about these things as they kind of happen. So I will let you know um when I can. But I've got to stop this soon and actually set it for premiere. And what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to upload it tonight. Um, and have it premiering tomorrow, I think, maybe. But again, sorry for the fact that I can't really live stream like I'd like to. It would be nice to be able to get to the live streaming bit, but when I try to do that myself, they'll say things like, "Oh, we don't like that you do live streaming. It takes up our bandwidth." Well, everything's gonna take up bandwidth if it's anything like. If it's anything like the rest of computers and what computers do, everything takes up bandwidth, everything takes up data. You're not going to get something that doesn't take up data. I can actually probably set this for premiere tonight, and as it's uploading, it will probably take up data. It'd probably take up bandwidth. What am I supposed to do? Not do anything for myself? That's the situation we find ourselves in. So, what I'm going to do is, like I said, I'm going to set this for premiere tomorrow at noonish. And up until that point, yes, we'll exit the game. And I will do like I normally do. I'm going to set it to the banner image and say thank y'all for watching. It is now 8:54 p.m. and I've been doing this for an hour and 26 minutes. I'm going to upload the entire thing to YouTube. I'm not going to edit because this has been a long conversation and I don't really know. I wasn't going to record anything tonight, but I just felt like I should um, because it had been a while. And hopefully, like I said, we'll be doing stuff more in the new year and things will be better than they were. Anyway, y'all have a good night, and I will talk to y'all. Hopefully, tomorrow we'll be um, recording again and uploading and such. I don't know what though. So, have a great night, and God bless.